Okay.
So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Webinar Wednesday from Sight and Sound Technology. My name is Stuart Lawler. I'm Head of Digital Content here at Sight and Sound Technology, and really delighted to be welcoming everybody back to another session. Our webinars, as we just said a moment ago before we started proper, our webinars take place every month on the first Wednesday of the month, and really big group today. So clearly a lot of interest in Excel, something I have to say that kind of frightens me because I'm not great with numbers. So
Frightens you, Stuart.
It does, it really. So I'm really looking forward to learning lots about Excel today. Sharon Lyons is our presenter. Sharon works alongside me here at Sight and Sound Technology Ireland. She's a low vision specialist, and she has 20 years experience working in this field. So there's not much about shortcuts, etc., that Sharon doesn't know about. If you'd like to participate in today's session, and we'd really love your interaction, you can raise your hand by pressing Alt and Y on Windows, Command and Y on a Mac, or you can activate the raise hand button if you're using a mobile device. It's usually at the bottom right of the screen under the more options. You can also type in chat by pressing Alt and H on Windows, Command H on a Mac, or pressing the chat button on your mobile device. And I'll be keeping a close eye on the chat and raised hands, and we will go over for questions and comments over the session. And of course, we also received some emails during the week from people who were attending today. Thank you to people who sent emails. I did get one just now from Liz Silver. Liz, we have your email, and I will relay it to Sharon. It's kind of an interesting question, actually. And so, yeah, we'll be doing that during the session. If you're posting in the chat, please make sure to send your message to all participants and attendees, sorry, to all panelists and attendees, so that everybody gets to see your message. We're really glad to have you here today, and we're looking forward to a great afternoon with Sharon. Sharon, maybe just before you start into what you're going to show us, like, is Excel, does it scare people, do you think, when people see Excel and words? Do you get that from people? Do people kind of go, oh my God? Yeah, because it scares me, so I'm glad you.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, when you use a computer, probably one of the first things you kind of get into is Word and email, you know, and they kind of make sense because you might want to just write a document or a letter, or you might want to write a message to someone, and it's all kind of intuitive. Whereas Excel is just, it means nothing on its own without some information. So it's kind of like a blank canvas, and when you open it, you just really don't know where to start. You have to have a purpose. Well, I guess you do have to have a purpose to write a document as well, but you know, it's just not as easy to get started.
It's not as intuitive, maybe. Yeah.
And Excel, I mean, it was developed in 1995, apparently.
Wow.
And it's used to store, analyze, and visualize data. And this is where this is the bugbear for people that can't see the screen, because it could be said that Excel is very, very visual. And I'm not just talking pretty colors and borders and shading and things. I'm talking like just trying to make sense of the data in an Excel spreadsheet, just trying to get your head around what it's trying to tell you. You know? So it is a bit of a challenge, but there are many people who have risen to that challenge and are using Excel as JAWS users on a daily basis. And yeah, they have strategies that and I'd be very happy for people to add. You know, I love the questions and I do my best to answer them, but I'm very happy for people to suggest tricks and hints and tips that they use with Excel, because
that's one of the great things about these sessions. People start helping each other. I just wanted to reference then, I mentioned Liz Silver, who just sent an email in, and she was apologizing for it being so late, but it's a really good email. And I'm kind of paraphrasing it, but she was asking, how do you know when you open an Excel sheet that somebody sent you, how do you know where to start? And I have the very and the problem with that is, of course, that everybody designs Excel sheets in a different way. So there is no, I don't know, there is no real answer to that, is there?
Well, I would think I was talking to someone the other day about this, another JAWS user, and you know, you can move around the spreadsheet and find some information, but maybe the onus should be, like, controversial thing now, maybe the onus should be on the person who creates the spreadsheet or who's in charge or responsible for the spreadsheet to have a little explanation of what's in it, perhaps. It would be nice. It would certainly make it more accessible. But if it is a logical spreadsheet, I'll show you certain things you can do with JAWS to get more information about the spreadsheet. But if it is logical and intuitive, the way it's laid out, and it's laid out well, you should be able to find your way around. And even just the title of the spreadsheet, even to the file name should say what's in it. And if it doesn't, then maybe there should be a bit of explanation near the top, just to give people an inkling at least.
Yeah, and there is something on the Freedom Scientific website. I remember seeing it a long time ago, tips for creating Excel sheets, and they talk about this thing of don't put huge spaces, which may look visually nice, but big gaps between your rows, where the screen reader user will have no idea what's there. So
like blank lines,
exactly,
rows, and things. Yeah, that doesn't work very well for certain features in Excel. Actually, you don't want blank lines, but people will put them in. But they're a way of getting around the blank bits. So I will show you that. And just my disclaimer, Stuart.
Yeah.
I am not an Excel expert. I have worked with Excel geniuses over the years, and I have taught ECDL level Excel for a good few years. So and I'm a user of Excel. So I don't work for Microsoft. Obviously, I work for Lyons.
Okay, brilliant. Much nicer company to work for than Microsoft, Sharon, we have to say. And just again to remind people, you can raise your hands. I'd see a few hands going up already. Alt-Y and type in chat, Alt and H. So Sharon, look, we'll hand over to you to do a bit of presenting, and we might break in kind of 10-15 minutes and see where our questions are. So if you do want to raise your hand, please put your hand up, and I will go in order of raised hands, with the first hand up being the first person to ask the question.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is, I have JAWS running, and I would like to share my screen and just show you a very simple spreadsheet. So I'm going to share my screen now.
Screen share, glossary of terms.
We have your JAWS.
Okay. Can you hear JAWS? Yeah.
We can hear JAWS, yeah.
And this, oh, hang on.
Glossary of terms. Please wait. Blank A1.
Okay. So, so we are in a spreadsheet here in Excel. And if I do insert and T.
Title is Glossary of Terms.xlsx-Excel Sheet 1.
So this is a glossary of terms. So I'm producing some training materials at the moment. I wanted to put a glossary in it, and I'm going to use Excel to help me with that. It might end up as a Word document or obviously PDF or something, but I'm going to use Excel to help me put my information together for the glossary. So, but just if you were coming into this as a JAWS user and you start on A1, so Excel is just a blank canvas of boxes that are referenced by columns and rows. So the first box or cell in the top left-hand corner is A1. And the one to the right of it
blank B1
is B1.
Blank C1.
C1.
Blank D1.
Blank,
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 blank, blank,
blank, blank.
blank L, blank M1.
So, as a screen reader user, you're like,
blank, blank
what
H1.
is in this spreadsheet? And if I go down,
blank H2, blank H, blank,
blank, blank, blank, blank,
blank H9.
Okay. And let's go back over the way.
Blank G9, blank D9, blank B9, blank A9.
And we're back to column A, and I haven't found anything yet, right? Now, if you have sight or some sight, you can see that there's something on the spreadsheet, but
A8.
I'm going round in circles here, like looking for a needle in a haystack. So I go back up.
Blank A8. Blank A5. Blank A4.
You get the idea. It's just a grid of cells. And when you first open a
Blank A1.
spreadsheet and you think, right, great, Excel, off I go. Like, what do I do? It's just, there's nothing there. There's nothing really to get you started. So you need to add information in. So for normal information, just think of it as a table, maybe structuring information in a table you can use Excel for, or you can obviously use Excel for very powerful, complex mathematical calculations as well. So it's huge, vast use of Excel. So here I am, don't know where I am, can't see any information. So what I would do in this situation, I would start in A1 and I would press Control and down arrow. Rather than down arrow, just take me to A2.
Blank A1.
Control and down arrow.
Blank A10488576.
Okay.
Start of new data region.
That will take me to what's that? 1,048,576. That means there is nothing in that column. So I'm going to go back up, Control up.
Blank A1.
Back
Start
to
of
A1.
new data region.
Okay, let's try.
Blank B1.
Let's try the column B and Control down.
Term B2.
Term.
Start of new data region.
Okay, there's something here. So now if I arrow down from there.
Port B3, USB B4, TXT B5, OCR B6, Bluetooth B7.
Okay, so we've got some different terms there.
Term B2.
And if I go, then let's go to C column.
Definition C2.
Okay, this makes a bit more sense now. So we've got a definition.
And computer hardware term, universal serial bus, A
USB,
text format, C5,
TXT,
optical character recognition, A
OCR.
technology that allows a computer to connect to other devices without wires over a short distance.
Okay, so there's my definitions. That's Bluetooth at the end there. Okay, so I am just using Excel here very simply to have a list of terms, and then I'm going to put the definitions next to them. But why would I bother doing that in Excel? That is because I can just add terms to it, and then I can ask Excel to sort them when I'm finished. Or if I sort them now, I could add something else and get Excel to help me organize it. So the sort feature in Excel is very good. So what I need to do, I don't have to select anything. I just have to
OCR, Bluetooth B7.
Just have to go to the column that I want to sort on. And as long as there's no blank lines in between my information, it will sort any other information that's associated with the information in this column. So I have a column with terms and a column with definitions. So if I sort it, it will pull the definitions with it, if you get what I mean. So here I have Bluetooth.
Oh, Bluetooth B7.
And then next to it,
a technology that allows a computer to connect to other devices without wires over a short distance.
Okay.
C7.
So if I go back to my column with the terms,
Bluetooth B7.
And I'm going to press my applications
Applications key. Cut to move through items, press up or down arrow T.
And I'm going to go down to sort, or I can press
Copy.
If I keep going.
And
Go down to
track quick and filter sort sub menu sort. To navigate, press up or down arrow S. Sort A to Z to move through items.
So then I can open the sub menu there and sort A to Z. That will do me. Press enter.
Enter. Leaving menus USB B7.
Oh, and now I've got USB in B7. So hopefully that means I have Bluetooth at the top.
TXT, OCR, Bluetooth B3.
And just to check.
A technology that allows a computer to connect to other devices.
Yeah, that's the correct definition for Bluetooth. So I just position on the column applications key down to sort. I think actually one of my Excel geniuses has an even quicker way of doing that. Alt ASS I could have done for that.
Bluetooth B3.
I might try that one again in a minute. So, okay, let's say now, oh, and just to say, you might be thinking, well, why didn't you just type it into the A1? Why did you have to kind of move it off a column and a row down? That some people do that. So it's just sometimes it's easier to kind of bring it into the middle of the spreadsheet. Not very helpful, I know, but just be prepared for that. But like I say, if you use Control and the arrow keys, it will actually bring you to your next piece of data down. So it will jump over the blank rows that we were talking about earlier. So and it will work left to right as well. So Control and the arrow keys will help you jump over gaps in the in blank gaps in the spreadsheet. Okay. So now say I want to add another term here. I could just go to the end, Control down.
USB B7 at blank B8.
So I could go to B8 and add it in there, but it doesn't really matter where I add it in. I don't have to try and think about my alphabet and what I want to add to it and where I should put it. Because I can always sort on this again. I can just keep adding and sort it when I'm ready. So, but what I'll do here is just show you a quick way of adding in a row. So I'm going to select, this is how I do it all the time. You may have other ways of doing it, but I'm going to select a row, which is Shift and Spacebar.
Selected entire row, select A6.
I did
blank,
indeed, I selected an entire row. And I'm going to hit my favorite applications key.
Applications cut to move through items, press up or down arrow T.
And I know now that I can press I for insert.
I, leaving menus, select A6, blank XFD6,
and
blank,
it has,
insert, leaving menus.
Yes, thank you, Jules. I have added in a blank row. So if I arrow up and down,
port B5,
port,
blank B6,
blank,
TXT
B7
B7,
is the next one. So
blank.
I've got a blank row in there. So Shift Spacebar, select the row, applications key, I, insert. And you can do that with a column as well. You can insert columns, Control Spacebar selects a column, applications insert will insert a column to the left, I think. Let's just do it actually.
Selected entire column, select B1.
Okay, and I do
application I,
insert.
select B1, blank B10485.
Okay.
Blank.
And what it was doing there was just reading the last cell. When you select a whole column, it selects like a million, nearly 1.5 million cells. But don't worry about that. It's not going to take up space on your computer as long as they're not all full of information. Okay, so so I want to add now where I'm
port C5.
Oh, notice I'm in C column now because I added in the column B.
Blank TXT blank
okay, here
C6.
we go. I'm going to put JP
edit JP
as a JPG as in the format for a picture. So, and then if I arrow to the right,
blank D6,
I can put what should I put? Image.
IME space
image format.
ORAT. Enter text format D7.
And yeah, you can just, there I am just typing stuff in. You can just type things in, press enter, and it will bring you down. Just to warn you, when you type in information into an Excel spreadsheet, it automatically takes you down to the next cell underneath it because it thinks you want to add stuff in a vertical manner. I think you can change that actually in the settings somewhere, but gosh, I'm so used to it. I'd be completely lost if it did something different now. Okay, so
image
we have
format
image
D6,
format,
JPG C6,
JPEG to the side of it. If I wanted to go in
image format D6
and change that, I could press F2.
F2, edit image format, type in text T A
And I can edit just by using the
G.
You know, just like editing
Golf.
text. Oh, thank you. But that's fine. Press
Enter.
enter.
Text format
It drops
D7.
me down again. And
TX
now
JPG port C5.
my
OCR
ooh,
C4.
no, my glossary is not in alphabetical order. So let's try one of my Excel Geniuses ones. Alt ASS. He says it's easy to remember. Ha ha ha. Alt ASS. Alt
Upper ribbon
A
Data tab S.
S
S. Leaving menus. Leaving ribbons. OCR C4. Sort dialog. Sort OK button to
Ooh.
activate. Enter. JPG
I'll
C4.
just press enter on that and let's see.
Bluetooth.
Oh yeah,
JPG. OCR
that
port
worked.
C6. TXT.
Thanks, Dave.
JPG. Bluetooth.
And just while we're there, I know that one of the questions was from somebody who had used, I think he used Office or at least or Excel a while back when we had those lovely menus. And we've been kind of managing ribbons for a while now. So it is completely different to when we had menus. A lot of standard shortcuts still work. You know, most of the shortcuts that I've done so far, I didn't even touch the ribbon. But if you do something very often, there's usually a ribbon shortcut that you can use. Otherwise, if you don't know the ribbons very well, they can be quite cluttered. You can also get rid of the ribbon, you know, in any Office application by pressing
From Stuart
F1.
Control F1.
Yes, it's gone now. Visually, basically, you don't get rid of it completely. Visually, it goes off of the screen, which can give you more space on the screen to look at your information, which some people might prefer, especially if you're using magnification. You may not want the ribbon in view all the time, just takes up too much space if you're not using it. Okay, let's see. Oh, talking of magnification. Oh, sorry, Stuart, were you about to say something there?
No, it's okay, work away.
Yep. Talking of magnification, there's a zoom facility on Excel. So if I do, oh, and I'm going to go into the ribbons again. So I'm going to do Alt W.
Alt W, upper ribbon,
Q.
combo Q.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Escape.
Okay. Alt
W, upper ribbon, combo box, sheet view, switch sheet Q.
Okay, that's very strange. I can tab.
Keep button, exit button, new options, workbook views, page, custom views, show, grid lines, formula bar, headings, checkbox, zoom, dot, button,
Okay.
alt follow, enter, leaving menus, leaving ribbons, Bluetooth, C3, alt +1, zoom, magnification,
I have a list here.
75% radio button, 75, 50% rate, 25% radio button check, 5 of fit selection, custom edit, 400, type
here we go.
text, alt
400%. Let's do that. 400.
Enter.
Woo.
Bluetooth C3.
That's big. So it's basically done 400%. So you could do that if you're in a spreadsheet with lots of, well, some spreadsheets are real tiny. You can up the zoom level. Now, if you use a mouse, dare I talk about the mouse, there is something in the bottom right hand corner of Excel, a little slider for zooming in and out. So you could use that as well if you're having trouble reading the information.
Sharon, is it a good time to just pop across to the audience?
Indeed.
We have a couple of people with raised hands, and we have Paula. I don't know if your hand keeps going up and down, so I'm not sure if you want to ask a question or not, but if you leave your hand up, we will get to you. So the first person is Himashu Kutani, and I really hope I've done the pronunciation justice. I suspect I haven't, but Himashu, you should be able to unmute yourself, and we'd love to hear your question.
Hey.
Hello, Himashu.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Sorry, I've just managed to work out where the unmute was.
Brilliant.
Right. Thank you very much today. Anyway, I use Excel quite a bit, but it's very basic stuff I do. So I use it to work out fees for various users of a service, and then I've got to email those fees out on a monthly basis.
Right.
Currently what I do, so it's literally just setting up a formula each month that calculates what they've got to pay based on the number of days and this and that. But then I've separately got to use an email program to fill out the people's names and then put in the fees, some blurb, and then send it. One of the things I've always wondered, was there a way of combining the two so I could work out all the fees and then email them automatically?
Oof. I'm really sorry, Himashu, but someone walked in my room wanting to do some work on the room, a builder or something. So I just had to shoo them away. So I just kind of only got the gist of what you're saying. So you have a very specific use for Excel, and that just is a really good example of how how a lot of people use Excel. So you know what you're dealing with, and you know where you're going with the information. So you have a bunch of people, and you have kind of the fee information with them.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just sorry. It's to kind of waste your time, but could you just repeat?
Of course. Yeah.
What you wanted to achieve?
Yeah. So basically, if in column A I've got names, column B I've got a calculation, column C I've got any additionals or whatever, and column D is the final amount I've got to invoice them. I've at the moment manually got to then send that information via email each month. So in the email, I'll again type out their name, I'll type out the amount of fees, and then any additional charges or anything. So it's two totally separate things. The Excel sheet, all I'm doing is essentially using it as a quicker calculator.
Yeah.
And a method of record keeping.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if I could connect the two. So
it's almost like a mail merge.
That's what it is, right? Okay.
Gosh, that's a very interesting one. I can't think off the top of my head how you would do it, but it sounds a bit like a mail merge. So you have the email, you have the person's name, the email in there, and you have the fee, and you just want to send that information automatically.
That's
really.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I believe there are proprietary programs that will do this.
Right.
But the accessibility of them is not great.
Right. Yeah.
So when I said to my daughter, I'm going on an Excel webinar, she said, "But you're really good at Excel." I said, "No, what I'm good at is doing the same routine again and again and again." So like even some of the things you just mentioned about selecting a column or so on,
Mm-hmm.
I come across them, but I hardly ever have to do it. So I think that seems to be the case with other sort of partially sighted blind users, that they're really good at the bits they need to do, but and I suppose it's like that with many people. They don't
definitely
need things they don't need. So
yeah, definitely. Well, that's the same with everything actually on a computer.
True.
You do what you have to do. You don't necessarily have to know everything to get it to work for you, and no one should ever feel under pressure to know everything either. But that's an excellent question. There's got to be a way to do that.
It strikes me, and I don't know about this much, but it strikes me that maybe you'd be able to write a macro to do it. So maybe a little program within Excel to pull the data, but it's not something, it's way beyond my
all right,
experience.
I've got to admit, someone else has mentioned that in the past, and they tried to do it and they couldn't do it. So
they can do it.
They were trying to help me out, but
it might be a macro to pull the relevant data.
I'm very interested in that. But the thing is, I mean, it's Office 365, it's Excel, Outlook, Word. I mean, they're designed to work together, so there's got to be a way of doing it.
It's almost like a mini CRM system. Hamishi,
Yeah.
thank you very much for your
Yeah,
question.
thank you, Hamishi. That's a
Okay,
great
thanks.
example. Sorry, I
Take
couldn't
care.
answer it right now.
Okay. So we're going to just continue with
Yep.
our raised hands, and we have Roz Henshaw. So Roz, you should be able to unmute yourself, and I think we have you.
Hi, Stuart. Hi, Sharon.
How are
Hi,
you?
Raz.
This afternoon session. Excel as a specialist teacher is something I use a bit with students. And I have a specific question because it's not something I know enough about. I use it in a very sort of narrow capacity. The bit I'm interested in is the sorting. So from A to Z or Z to A, fine, no problems with that. But what about dates? Because that's where my dyslexic students get into a mess.
Right.
And if you can do it from A to Z for words, can we do something similar for dates?
Yes, I'm sure you can. I'm sure it's the same, because dates in Excel are just a number, you know, and Excel sorts words alphabetically. It will sort numbers in number format. Yeah, so there's no reason why it can't do dates as well.
So what would the procedure be when you go into the application for sorting for A to Z? Will I see in the same window numbers for sorting?
I'm not sure what it actually does. I hope you can't hear that drilling noise drilling next door. Okay. I'm just wondering if I could just do this
1,
first.
2/2, enter blank B4.
What I could do.
Z3, Z5 slash Z2, 2.
Oh, I'm doing it in order now.
0/3/0, cut blank, pasted from blank B4.
And then if I did the 12th of December.
Z22. 01
Okay.
slash Z12 03 slash 05 slash 2022.
So I've got February, December, and May. And if I do, and I've got them now, the point is I have them together as well, no blank spaces. It's probably going to sort my glossary of terms as well, but that doesn't matter. So
applications cut to move through items, copy, see, smart, insert, delete, click, quick, filter, sort sub menu, sort oldest to newest.
There we go. So it says sort oldest to newest, or
sort newest to oldest.
Newest to oldest.
Sort oldest to newest. S. Enter. Leaving menus. 12/12/2020 03/01/02.
So it's put February first because I was arrowing up there, then May, then December. And it also rejigged my glossary of terms because I had no space between that and the Bluetooth. So I think it swapped around OCR and JPEG there. But that just shows you. No, it's fine. Don't worry. This is just me playing around. So it didn't matter. It's just us playing with Excel. So it pulled. Yeah, it pulled the other stuff as well. So whatever's nearby, it thinks that it's part of the same data set. So it will organize it all based on that sort. So yeah, you can sort dates.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ross.
Thanks,
thank you for your question. Okay, you ready to take one or two more, Sharon?
Sure,
We'll just get through the raised hands. Brilliant. Yep. Okay, let's go for Steve Plowman. So Steve, you should be able to unmute yourself, I hope.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you. Great topic. So thanks for doing that. The previous lady has actually asked a part of my question, which is great. So that's cool. So my application is that I play in a band, and I at the moment I use a really clumsy Word document to list all my gigs. Okay, and so using a spreadsheet would be an ideal way of being able to manage them and sort them nicely. And I've now just realized or learned how to sort them by date.
Yes.
Is there a way that Excel, if I put the date in, and we have to put the date in the correct format, don't we? Like 01//01/22. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different formats that you can do, but yeah, you would put it, and also depends where you are in the world as well, your regional settings as to which way round you put the days. And
okay, yeah, that's
cool.
But,
yeah.
So is Excel clever enough so I could have one column where I put the date in? Is it clever enough to put in the next column the day of the week for that date? Do you know?
Yes, I think you can. I'm just trying to
answers on a postcard.
There's definitely a way of doing that. There's definitely, gosh,
Okay.
you all have the best questions today.
These are great questions. Yeah,
I can't remember. There is definitely a way of doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's cool. Well, maybe I can. It's just I can. I'll Google the answer or something like that. Well, I just thought I'd ask the question, and maybe that it might be useful for other people. And the guy that asked the question, I think it was Richard, about being able. So basically, I've got a date, a day of the week where the gig is, the venue, who might be on that gig, and bits and pieces, and also an email address for that venue. So and it would be really handy to be able to extract all the email addresses to send a blanket email to everybody saying, hi there, I'm desperate for some work, any gigs going? You know what I mean? Yeah. So is there a way of doing that? I mean, I think that was close to what Richard was, sorry, not Richard, the chap earlier on.
Hamishu.
Yeah, beg your pardon. Sorry, yeah.
I think if I was doing that, there's two ways. I don't know, Sharon, what you would do, but I would copy the column with the email addresses.
Yeah.
Okay.
BCC them put them into a BCC so that nobody sees anyone else's address, obviously.
Yeah.
Or do a mail merge, but mail merge takes a bit of time, so it kind of depends.
So the BC or put the BC, what's it would be the
BCC, yeah. So you're not sharing emails publicly. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Steve, sorry, just before you go.
Yeah.
Another thing that would be really useful for you would be filters. So if you have, now you have, I assume you have titles on your columns, like venue and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, just on when you do titles, I have titles, I have term and definition.
Yes.
I made them a different format. I just put them in bold. So I just did Control B for those.
Yes.
And it made sure that it didn't actually sort the column heading in with the actual items, the data. So just to say that to everybody, so
can you just say that again? If you change the format in terms for bold, does that then that won't include that cell when you
sort? Yeah.
Well, just by the nature that they're slightly different, either italics or bold or something like that.
It's kind of you're kind of signifying that it's column headings, not part of the data.
Okay.
Yeah. In a simplest way. Yeah. So I just made them bold.
I just got there is just one very quick question. You don't have to answer this because I know there's loads of hands raised, but one also situation is when you've got, say, a dozen rows with all the headings or titles, and when I land on one of the, say I just want to look at one column, it reads out all the information on that row: date, day of the week, venue, who's on the gig, how much, blah blah blah. And I really don't want all that. I just want to know when have I next got a gig with Alan or something like that. You know what I mean? But I needed to be able to stop reading out all the information on the row because I don't want it all the time.
Is that? But this is in a Word document, is it at the moment, or
no?
It's in Excel. Okay.
Yeah, I have got an Excel document that.
Right.
That someone set up for me for something else, and it does do that.
Sorry, just clarify that.
Yeah.
No, it shouldn't read. If you're just moving a cell at a time, it should just read what's in the cell. It shouldn't read everything. I'm not sure why it is, but it shouldn't really be doing that.
Okay,
maybe you need to check that with support, or if anybody else understands why it's doing that.
Okay.
But also to just let you know how you said, oh, I just want to see when I'm playing at the, at the Roadhouse or something.
Yeah.
in Camden.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have a filter on your column headings. That means you can go in and say, okay, only show me ones with venue in Camden or something like that. You know.
Yeah, that'd be useful.
That's really useful. I'll show
Yeah.
you that. I'll show you that in the next bit.
Cool. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Steve. All
Good
the
to talk
best.
to you.
Yeah.
Take care. Just probably a good time to mention, Sharon, you mentioned support at Sight and Sound, and there is tech support available. So if you have a specific JAWS query or something that's not working with Excel, and there's some stuff today that we just may not get in time to do, you can email support@sightandsound.co.uk, or you can call us, of course, on 01604 798 070. We've loads of hands raised, but look, I want to get through because Liz Silver and Maria Politi have been waiting since the first sort of batch, and then we'll go back to Sharon for more demos, and then I'll come to Brian Anthony, and there's more people below that. So Liz, I know you emailed us earlier. I hope we kind of addressed your query, but you should be able to unmute yourself. I think we have you, Liz.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, this is going back to real basics because it sounds like quite a few people here are quite experienced with using Excel.
I like basics. I like basics.
Oh, good. Okay. The question was, and I might have misremembered this because I don't use Excel very often, but as I remember, if you're typing something into a cell and you make a mistake and you mistype something, I don't think you can use like, what would it be, control and left arrow, the sort of controls used in Word to kind of go back to a previous word in that particular cell. So
yeah,
would you have to, you mentioned using F2 for editing, Sharon, do you have to do that in that sort of context?
Yeah, so I mean, you can do Control Z and things like that as well. That will all work if you change something and you didn't mean to. But if you're typing, yeah, I mean, if I go into
blank B2,
yeah, if I type date
DTE,
for example, I can't then arrow back.
Blank A2
actually takes me to the previous cell.
Yeah.
So when you're actually entering data, you can't really edit it. But if you come back into the cell and do
F2, edit date, type and text,
and it puts me at the end of the text in that cell. So I have to arrow to the left to get back to the beginning, or I could press home.
Home. A, D.
Yeah, so then I'm on
Delta.
I'm just in front of the D. So yeah, so think of it like F2 to get into an edit mode, and then think of it like one line of text. So
A, T, E, blank, space.
Say if I said date opened or something, I think I can do control.
Opened, date.
Yeah, so I can do control and left and right arrow to move a word at a time.
Opened, blank.
And I can use home.
Opened.
Home to get to the beginning of the text, and end to get to the end of the text, all in that cell. So once I'm in the edit mode, just think of it like working with one line.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Although having said that, you can force because if I press enter now, it will just take in those changes now that I made. But I can actually have a second line in a cell as well. I can force it to put in a new line. And I was looking at that earlier when I was putting together my shortcuts. Oh, is it Alt Enter? I think. Alt Enter.
Alt Enter.
Yes, it is. So now if I arrow up.
Date opened, blank.
Now I have two lines in the cell. So now we're getting a bit more clever. And I could say, I
Left
don't know.
parent. D, E, A, L, T.
Default.
Right parent.
And then if I press enter.
01/02/20, date opened. Left parent, default, right parent,
and
B2.
It reads everything in that cell, but I actually have two lines in that cell. So so I have date opened, and then I put default in brackets on the next line, because that was the first word that came into my head. Yeah. So you can have several lines in a cell, but if you want to change it, you've got to F2
edit, opened, opened.
And you
left parent, default, right parent.
Okay, I can answer another question here. Yeah, but does that make sense, Liz?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks. I say it's very basic, but yeah.
Oh no, but
Brilliant.
it does. It really gets people, because they, as soon as you arrow to go back and change something, it's gone to another cell. So yeah, go back and edit to your heart's content with F2.
Brilliant.
All right, thanks, Liz.
Thanks, Liz.
Okay, I'm going to just go to one more hand for now,
Maria.
because Maria has had her hand raised for a long time. So Maria, you should be able to unmute yourself, and we'd love to hear your question. I think we have you.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Yes, hi, Maria.
Hello, Sharon. I'm just wondering, I've got a couple of quick questions. First of all, yes, I'm now using Excel for the course that I'm doing, the Ukrainian webinars, because
Fantastic.
the sighted people, they do tables, they actually draw them on paper. So for me, Excel is the best thing. But say I did some work, opened the file, did some work, saved it, and then closed it and came back to it later on and did some more work. Usually what I press Control S to save it again, and it's but sometimes the second half of the work that I came it was just my previous work, even after pressing Control S and hearing the beep, it didn't save. So I lost my work. So I don't know, am I doing something wrong? I am using Office 365 and the latest version of JAWS.
Yeah, Control S should save the changes, all right. Why is it doing that? I mean, you could, what might be worth doing is, and actually thank you, Maria, because you brought up something that I always like to say on these webinars whenever working with any kind of document or spreadsheet. When you do a save as, I always use save as F12, because when you go to first save something, it might default somewhere where you don't want it to save.
Yeah.
And I know OneDrive could come into that. And if you don't use OneDrive, it's like, where is that gone? So I would maybe do, next time you're working on that spreadsheet, maybe do F12 and, tab around, do your shift tab to find out where it's saving it, and just make sure it's not saving it to somewhere that you didn't want it to save it to.
Oh, thank you. And does it work in Word as well? Because
yes.
in Excel I use the OneDrive because it's on it's like the cloud, but in Word I prefer, I have Word as an app, and I prefer to save on my external hard drive.
Right.
So, but I actually go into recents now, and now it finally got the message that I want to save on my Seagate.
Yeah,
drive.
Recents is great. Recent is great. And you know how I open a lot of Excel spreadsheets these days is I just type it into, it's on my computer, so it might be different for an external hard drive, but I type it into the search box in Windows if I remember the file name, and I go from there. I don't even open Excel.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
That might not work with an external hard drive though, if it's on there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was also wondering that when I did work experience in the early 2000s and the DCDL and Glossary, there was a brilliant feature basically used for calendars. It was called Fill Series. Basically, you put in your days, and can you still do that with ribbons?
Yes, you can. So if you wanted to fill, what sort of series would you be doing then?
Well, I don't know, Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday, dates,
Alpha, escape.
weekdays and dates. At my work experience, I did Monday to Friday because people needed their schedules or their wages. I just did the calendar for them. So it was Monday to Friday, but for home use, it could be Monday to Sunday or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So if I did
Monday
here, I'm going to do it on the fly, Maria.
Enter blank. Monday A2.
Okay. I know I've definitely done it for series of numbers. So like if I put 1 in, and then I could fill down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So select the cells. So if I select Monday,
select A3,
Tuesday,
select
Wednesday,
A4,
Thursday,
select
Friday,
A,
Saturday,
select
Sunday.
A8.
Okay. So, and what I did there was I positioned on the first cell, held the shift down, your select key and arrow down. So that's selected A2 to A8, I think. And then I do, I'm cheating, I've got a cheat sheet next to me here. Because this one's a tricky one. Alt-H for home.
Alt-H, upper ribbon, home, clipboard, paste split button unavailable.
For some reason, my ribbon shortcuts are not working. They're kind of flashing up and then disappearing. Okay.
Escape, home tab, 2 of 9, Alt followed by 8, Alt-H, F.
Ooh,
Escape, leaving menus, Alt-H, upper I, home, clipboard, paste split button.
It's not going to work for me. So I can't get to it very quickly. So bear with me a minute. But if you do Alt-H, God, there's loads on the home ribbon. If you do Alt-H and then FI.
Editing, odd menu, clear sub-menu, sort and filter sub-menu, organize, find and select sub-menu, click the analysis, analyze data menu, sensitivity group, sensitivity.
Now, where is it? Oh, sorry. I can't find it now. This is great. Maybe it's because I hid my ribbon.
F1.
Yeah, maybe we might come back to you, Anna Maria, because I'm just conscious there's...
Sorry.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize it was going to be so complicated.
I think maybe it's because I hid my ribbon. So can I just try one more time, Stuart?
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Alt,
upper
H. Oh, here we go.
F, I. Down Control plus D to move through items. Press up or down arrow.
And
Control
then an
plus
S for
D.
serious.
S. Leaving menus. Leaving ribbons. Step value. Colon edit.
Okay. And ooh. Okay, let's just see if it'll do this for me.
Trend checkbox not checked. OK button. Enter. Selected range. Monday. Blank. Blank.
No, it didn't.
Monday. 8.
Okay. There is a way to do that, Maria.
It doesn't work on the... Oh, well, I can always Google it and stuff like that.
Yes, there is definitely a way of doing that. Yeah.
If you find out the answer, Maria, share it with us, okay?
Okay, no problem.
All right. Thanks, Maria. Thanks a million. Okay, I know there's more hands. I know there's lots more people with questions, but I'm conscious that Sharon has other things to show us, I think, Sharon. So
I do.
Will we let you do some demoing, and I will come back to people who have their hands raised. Brian, Sheila, Steve, I don't know if you meant to put your hand up a second time, but leave your hand up if you did. So yeah, we'll go back to everyone in a little while.
Okay, so I just unshared the screen just while I get this other spreadsheet. Just bear with me. Great questions.
Certainly are. Certainly people doing very interesting things with Excel,
very
isn't
interesting,
there?
yeah.
Which is great to see. Again, just to remind people about the support email address, support@sightandsound.co.uk. And for anyone who wants to raise their hand, it's Alt and Y, Alt and H for the chat.
Okay, so I am going to, you can't hear Jaws at the moment, can you?
No.
No, good, because he's rabbiting on here. So hopefully if I share my screen again, and
screen share, desktop, meeting controls.
Yeah, Jaws is back. Okay.
Scare shoe store stock control.xlsx-excel.
Okay, so here I have a spreadsheet that I made earlier. With a typical kind of example of what you would use Excel for. So this is a stock control. So now maybe I should have a description of what it has at the top, but what I could do is
item no A2 sorted smallest.
I can go through my column headings. So I've got item number.
Name B2, no filter applied drop. Unit cost C2,
cost.
No quantity in stock D2, no filter applied drop. Stock value E2,
stock value.
Percentage value F2,
percentage value.
Last ordered G2, no
last
filter
ordered,
applied drop
date.
down. Reorder H2.
And I've got reorder. So I have a lot of, I could spend 2 hours in here like, adding different things in. So what I wanted to show you first is if I go back.
Last order per stock quantity in 100 D3. Unit cost.
Ooh,
20.
there we go.
C3.
So what I wanted to show you, first of all, I've set up something special in JAWS here so that it will read the heading of the column wherever I am in the spreadsheet. So if I go down or across here.
Name. Old school trainers.
Here we
B3.
go. So we have some old school trainers. And if I arrow to the right.
Unit cost. 20.
Unit
C3.
cost is 20.
Quantity in stock. 100. D3.
100 old school pairs of old school trainers in stock. Obviously, they're not a very good sell. So,
stock value. Blank. E3.
I have nothing in my stock value. Okay, for those. And then I could go back to name.
Quantity. Unit cost. Name. Old school trainers.
And
B3.
then I could go down.
Embellished slider. B4. Glitter sandal. B5. Metallic flat sandal. B6.
Okay. How much do metallic flat sandals cost me?
Unit cost. 17.
Okay.
C6.
And how many do I have in stock?
Quantity in stock. 5. D6.
So I'm just on that row moving across and it's reading the heading to me. So there is a way of doing that. You have to name a range, but JAWS will then pick up that name. You kind of name a range in a very specific way. It's a bit complicated, but I can certainly give you notes, or there's probably something on the Freedom Scientific website that explains how to do that. But that could really help JAWS users in, it's like having a table where it's telling you the column headings all the way through, and you can get it to say the row headings as well. So if you had something specific on the left-hand side, left-hand column for that row, you could get it to actually tell you what row you're on as well. I just did it for columns here.
Unit cost. 17. C6.
So in unit cost here, I just have numbers.
Quantity in stock. 5.
And I
D6.
just have quantities in, I just have numbers in a quantity, but actually unit cost is a currency. So
unit cost. 17. C6.
So what I might want to do is change the format of the unit cost to currency. So if I go up to the top,
20.
well, actually what I could have done was actually control up.
Unit cost. C2. No filter applied. Drop 20. C3.
Don't worry about that filter thing. I'll come back to that. So now if I want to change this column, well, all the entries in this column to currency, I can select the column, and I'm going to try this. If I do Control Shift and down.
Control Shift down arrow. Select C3. 20. C14. 20.
So it's actually selected from C3 to C14, which is perfect because that's all my stock. I only have like 11 different types of shoes. So I selected that. So Control Shift and down just selected it as a block, you know, like it would select a paragraph in Word. So as long as there's no gaps, it would select down that whole block of numbers in that column. And now, I love this shortcut. It's Control Shift and $sign.
Control Shift 4.
Now
Euro sign 6.00 C Euro sign 20.00 C3.
So now I have a euro because I'm in Ireland. It picks up my regional settings, so it automatically made it euro, even though I pressed dollar because that was just the shortcut. So Control Shift $, automatically changes the format to currency. And
Euro sign 6.00
and
C4.
it's also put 2 decimal places on it, which I may not want. And I can always change that if I go into the formatting options. But there's a lot of shortcuts like that. So there's like Control Shift % to change to percentage format, Control Shift and hash or number sign, which change things to date format. That would be interesting to play with that. So that's how you can, there's a lot of shortcuts for changing formats without having to go into the formatting dialog box. Okay.
Euro sign 20.00 C3. Quantity and stock value. Blank.
As soon as
E3.
I start moving left to right, because I asked it to read the column headings, it starts telling me where I am, which is lovely. So I'm on stock value now, which is blank. So stock value would be unit cost multiplied by quantity in stock. So I can do a formula here. So I'm going to do equals. As soon as I do equals,
edit equals, type in text, type in the formula and press enter.
It knows that I'm putting in a formula or a function. So unit cost. So I need to know the cell reference for unit costs. So I might go back.
Equals D3. Equals C3.
Okay, it's not going to read it out to me, but I know that the previous two columns are the things that I want to multiply. So I'm going to use an asterisk.
Equals C3 star star.
Or star. And then if I arrow to the other one to the left.
Equals C3 star D3.
That's what I want. And I press
enter.
enter.
Blank E4. Auto filter is on.
Now the other thing I could have done.
Euro sign 2000.00 E3 contains formula.
The other thing I can do is
quantity in stock 100 D3.
Now it tells me, see, when I moved quantity in stock, it tells me that's D3.
Unit cost euro sign 20.00 C3.
It tells me that's C3. So it's C3 times D3.
Quant stock value.
Back to stock
euro
value.
sign 2000.
And here's the power of Excel. Very simply, I can copy that all the way down. So if I do Control C.
Copied selection to clipboard.
Control Shift and down may not work because they're blank actually. So I know it's 14.
Select E4. Select E11, select E12, select E13, select E14.
Now I knew it was 14 because I remember that from earlier. And I can do Control V.
Paste it from clipboard. Select E3. Euro paste
now,
recovery. Escape. Euro sign 900.00 E4 contains formula.
So now I have automatically filled in all the other stock values. And if I do Control down.
Euro sign 800.00 E14 contains formula. Edge of current data region.
Thank you. I'm at the edge of the data region. So what Excel does is if you copy a formula, it automatically changes the cell references for that row. So it will add it up specific to each row as you go down. So it's called relative cell referencing, and that's what Excel is designed to do automatically. And then if I go down from here,
blank E15.
Nice blank.
Blank total stock value colon D16.
I have a little label I put in here, and I'll just
cut, paste it from clip blank E15. Euro sign 800.00 E14 contains formula.
Arrow around and check where I am.
Quantity in stock. Stock value. Euro sign 800.00 E14. Blank E15.
If I go to the blank cell underneath this and do an auto sum, which I think was a question on an email, auto sum is alt and equals. So if you have a column of numbers, no spaces, and you go to the cell just below the column of numbers, you can do alt and equals.
Type in the range to sum using colon to separate or press enter to accept default range. E3 colon E14.
Sounds
Edit
about
equals
right.
sum enter blank E16. Auto filter is on.
And of course it puts me down to the next cell. If I go back up.
Euro sign 10,740.00 E15.
That sounds
contains
like a
formula.
nice healthy stock value there with all my issues. Okay. So that's a formula. We did a formula. We copied it down, and relative cell referencing automatically updated it for each row. And then we did an auto sum alt equals at the end to get the total stock value. Okay.
I love the auto sum, Sharon. I've just learned that now. It's brilliant.
It's fab, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be using that definitely.
The other thing I wanted to show you was, oh, look, I could sort these actually, couldn't I? I could sort these and see what.
Euro sign 800.00 E14 contains form.
But what I wanted to show filters very quickly. If that's okay, Stuart. Hello?
Yeah, sure,
oh,
absolutely.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. So if I go back up, I just want to show you because it keeps talking about filters and we mentioned them in a question earlier. So control up.
Stock value E2, no filter applied drop down button.
So it says no filter applied. So I did, I think it's Control Shift L actually to apply filters. And what that does is it applies it to all my column headings. So, so it just adds filters. Alternatively, I think you can go up to the ribbons and add filters. Actually,
name B2, no filter. Control Shift L.
Actually, Control Shift L removes them.
Unit cost, quantity in stock, stock value E2.
So if I did Control Shift L
Control
again,
Shift L.
It puts them all in. So basically what a filter is, it's just giving you the option to just display certain bits of information out of your whole mass of information in your spreadsheet. So for example, what I could do, if I go back to
quantity and unit cost, C2, no filter applied drop down button.
No filter applied at the moment. If I go Alt and down arrow, Alt down.
Menu S.
And I can arrow down.
Sort, sheet, clear, filter, number, type, manual filter, tree view, left parent, select all, right parent.
And at the
checked,
moment,
1 of 11.
It says select all, so it's showing everything. Now, if I unselect this by pressing space bar.
Space, not checked.
Then I can go down through the different price, the unit costs.
Euro sign 6.00, not checked.
Okay, I want to know all the ones that are maybe 10 euros or less. So, yep, 6
Space,
euros.
checked. Euro sign 10.00, not
10,
checked.
Yep.
Space, Euro sign 14.00, not checked.
And it goes up in numerical value. So I've just checked.
Euro sign 10.00, checked. Euro sign 6.00,
and
checked.
6. So if I press enter on that.
Auto filter is on. Unit cost C2. No filter applied drop down button.
And what I can do is then
name B2. No
name.
Filter applied drop. Embellished slider B4. Adjacent to hidden cells.
Embellished slider, whatever that is.
Espadrille tie up B9. Adjacent to hidden cells. Fur mule slippers
and
B11.
Some slippers
Adjacent
are all either 10 euros or less. And I can go across and find out
unit cost.
The unit cost.
Euro sign 6.00 C11. Adjacent to hidden cells.
Cheap slippers. So and if I wanted to get out of that and see everything again, go back up.
Euro sign unit cost C2. Filter.
Could have done control up again. Alt down arrow.
Menu S.
And I can press C for clear filter, or you could arrow down.
Sort sheet clear filter from quote unit enter leaving menus. Auto filter is Euro sign 20.0 name. Old school trainers.
And I'm back to my old school trainers and I've got my whole list back so I can arrow down through that. So that was what I was talking about with the gig venues. You could filter on a particular value in a column, especially if you've got loads of information, and you can find out just and analyze just that information. I think that'll do for now, Stuart.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Sharon. That is fantastic. Let's have a look. We do have some raised hands. So I'm going to go back to Brian Anthony has had his hand raised for a while. So Brian, and by the way, sorry, before we go to Brian, I did get a notification from somebody in the audience that they couldn't use chat, and it looked like it had been somewhat disabled. So I fixed that, and we had that issue last time. I'm not sure if Zoom have changed something. So we'll look into that a little further. And somebody else said they couldn't unmute themselves, and that's by design. You have to raise your hand first before you can unmute. So I hope that clears it up. So Brian, you should be able to unmute yourself. And we'd love to hear your question. I think we have you, Brian.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear
Hello.
me okay?
We can.
Yep.
Yeah, hi. It's great content so far. And I've got a quick question, which is for being blind, working with an Excel spreadsheet, but then making that spreadsheet usable by sighted people. I wonder if there's a quick way, because I can make some really okay spreadsheets that work good for me. Jaws reads all the headings, the column and the row headings reads the content of the cells. But then when a sighted person looks at that Excel spreadsheet, the headings are sort of truncated because I've not got them filled out. I've not gone in to say make a column width 1.5 inches wider, because I can't tell that the title is half appearing or not. And I know how you can join cells together so that you can get a big word spanning 2 columns, for example.
You can.
But it's all guesswork. As a blind person, I'm always just guessing by what you can see cited. And is there a way for me to get Jaws to say, you know, what's invisible, so that I know I've got to make a column wider? Or is there a way I can just, you know, do a shortcut and make this spreadsheet site friendly?
Yes is the answer to that question, because I've done this myself. So it's something that you would do once you finish putting information, because it doesn't kind of automatically update, I'm pretty sure, from using this before. So there's an auto column width feature. So if you selected everything, and then now what is it? Let me see. I'm cheating again with my cheat sheet. It's, oh no, I knew that one. Alt H.
Alt H, chat. Escape, meeting, scare of shoe store stock control.
Let's make sure I'm in Excel. So it's Alt H.
Alt H, upper ribbon, home tab, 2 of 9,
O,
Alt follow
loads
O,
of stuff
cell
in here.
toolbar, format button drop down, press as pop up, Alt followed by H, O, H, cell size group, row height, ... To move through items, press up or down arrow.
Okay, I'd let Jaws finish talking there. So we've got a whole sub menu here. So Alt H and O is for format. And in here we have row height. That's where you can set the row height. I'd say rows probably isn't the problem.
Auto fit row height, Alt followed by H.
Auto fit row height.
Column width, ... Alt followed by.
Pick a column width.
Auto fit column width, Alt.
And you can auto fit column width. So if you select everything and auto fit column width, so Alt H O I, that would be. That should automatically widen the columns for whatever you have in
column by column. You'd have to do that column by column though. Select a column, Alt H O.
No, I think you can do the whole lot at once. I think if you selected the whole thing.
Right, so Control Shift End to select everything from A1 to the bottom right of the zone, and then
escape upper ribbon. Format.
Sorry.
Escape.
Yeah.
Leave it.
So
scare of shoe store stock.
What did you Control Shift?
Control Shift N.
Yeah, that
select
worked.
A1.
Yeah.
Tab.
Because I know sometimes Control A doesn't actually select everything.
Toolbar.
Sorry.
Escape.
Thanks, Jaws. That's enough for now.
Scare of shoe store.
So I know that Control A may not always select everything, but Control Shift End. Yeah. So if you select, I mean, if you want to be sure, select a column at a time and do it. Yeah. And just get someone to check for you maybe, but that should work. That should work.
And that's brilliant. Something that I use all the time, and I don't know if other people know about it, but is Jaws V on the verbosity settings. I'm always just going in to define the column title and define the row title, and then it automatically reads the column and row headings. Dead easy to do, you know. So if I just move the cell to the top left of a sort of a table area, and then just go to the verbosity settings, you know, that's how I always just set the title reading for the row and columns.
That sounds much easier than what I was doing.
Yeah, you were talking about defining a
range,
a range. Yeah. But if you just have your cursor, you know, on A3,
on the first
you know,
kind of column, the first
column,
heading, yeah.
And then go Jaws V, go down to define verbosity, enable title reading, and then there's one setting for set row titles. You just hit the space and it'll and then go down and hit the space for hit column titles, and it's there just like that. But it will save that setting when you save your Excel spreadsheet.
Brilliant.
It will remember you know, that. So if I'm going into a bank statement, you know, and I go up and down, it'll read the date. I actually have it. I don't have it on the first column. I have it on the transaction name because I'm not bothered about the date. I want to know, you know, is it British Gas? You know, all my outgoings and incomings, and you know, so yeah,
I'd say that's a scary read these days. Isn't it?
Yeah. But it's Yeah, it's a good
It's
tip.
much easier. Yeah, let me just try that. Is that okay if I just try that? So you said
that's the one.
caps lock V.
That's the one I thought you were
George
using,
V.
Sharon. I'm just going to move. I'm just going to move to the next raised hand. Is that okay, Brian?
Yeah, thank you.
Because I have four more people to.
Cheers.
Thanks. I mean, sorry, guys.
Yeah,
but I want to try and make sure we get in everybody's question. So
it's in the verbosity settings. Yeah, so you can turn on that. Great.
And it is actually
Thanks,
Brian is right. I use that as well. And it's very
Great.
handy. So Sheila Hands. And Sheila, you should be able to unmute yourself, I hope. There you go, Sheila.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Stuart.
Hi, Sheila.
Hi, Sharon. Brian actually asked one of the questions I was going to ask, so thank you for that. That was really, really helpful. One of the queries I have is I use Excel for monitoring workforce data, and quite often we need to merge some categories, especially when we're dealing with ethnicity and we've got some quite small numbers. But what I find Excel does sometimes is it rounds up the second point from the decimal point to the first point. So you're basically changing it by a tenth, and we really need sometimes to have the 0.1 counted, and I cannot for the life of me work out why it does it in some spreadsheets and not others. But I wondered if there's a way of stopping that from happening.
It could be the formatting then. It could be the formatting of the cells.
112 name, unit cost.
If I go back to unit cost, because in unit cost at the moment
Euro sign 20.00.
I've got 0.00 and I don't really need it. So I'm kind of the opposite problem.
Yeah, because even when I do, I go into edit and I put in 0.01 and press either tab or the return key, it still gives me 0.1. Which seems a bit strange. Yeah.
Oh, that is strange. One thing you could try is just to so I'm just checking where my number formatting stuff is. Number formatting options. Application key, that's it. of course.
Applications cut to move through items, press up or down arrow.
I can go to format cells, which is F.
Leaving menus. Euro sign 20.00. C3. Number tab selected.
Okay. And then if I tab through here, I have
category : list box, decimal places : edit spin box 2. To set the value, use the arrow keys or type.
So you can do that. So you can do applications and maybe select the whole column of numbers if you can, and applications key and F for format cells. And then if you tab around in there, you have decimal places. And now I could set that to 0. And then I think I can press enter.
Auto filter is on. Euro sign 20. C3.
There we go. So
auto
now
filter
I only
is
have 20, but I only changed that one cell.
Euro sign 6.00. C4.
The next one is 6.00. Yeah, so I still have the 2 decimal points. If that makes sense, you could try that. You could try checking the format.
Yeah, another really quick question as well is I'm fairly new to Excel and I taught myself pretty much. I did get some training, but not an awful lot. And what I found when I was looking around is it's quite difficult. You can get information about how to use Excel, but it doesn't give you hotkeys for using with a screen reader, or you can get information about hotkeys using with a screen reader, but you don't always get in-depth information about the sort of maximum use you can make of Excel. So it would be quite useful if anybody's got any suggestions for sort of bringing some resources together that can be easily accessed, because this was probably one of the hardest packages I found to try and get information on.
It is, and it's all very, if you go into any kind of training or and find anything on YouTube, it's all mouse based, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely. A lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I have a website called Sharon's Shortcuts. I don't know whether you're familiar with it, Sheila.
No, I'm not.
So I wrote a website about how to use a PC without a mouse, and I have a load of the basic stuff on Excel there. And what it does is it talks about the standard shortcuts. So everything I've said today, apart from anything with the kind of insert or caps lock that we were talking about, like insert V. They were all standard shortcuts that anybody could use. So there's a lot of them on my website. I also do a shortcut of the week email that is supported by Sight and Sound, and it's basically I send out a shortcut every Monday morning, and I'm doing Excel at the moment. I've just started doing Excel. So for the foreseeable future, which could be a while, considering how powerful this program is, I will be sharing a shortcut by email every Monday morning, so you can learn them as you go along. If that's any use to you.
Yeah, how do we sign up?
So so if you go to well, you could just email and say, just email us and say, I want to sign up to Sharon's Shortcuts.
Oh, okay.
Or you can go on the website. So if you put Sharon's Shortcuts into a Google search, it should be one of the first ones that comes up. And then on the main page, like how to use a PC without a mouse, on the main page, a little way down is a sign up box there.
Perfect.
Yeah, so there's me. I'm kind of the top search result, well, kind of, on Sharon's Shortcuts, but then there's also a hairdresser in New South Wales that comes up as well. So but I'm not the hairdresser. I'm the how to use PC without a mouse.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thanks, Sheila.
Good to hear from you. Okay, brilliant. Now
thanks, Sheila, because I was going to say that before I forget to say about the shortcut of the week.
So we have two more hands. I'm just going to get through these people, and if anyone else wants to put your hand up for a really quick question, because we have about 7 minutes left before we finish this one up, so you can raise your hand with Alt and Y. I'm going to go to Sandra Gare, who's a regular attendee. So Sandra, hopefully you can unmute yourself. We have you.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I'm sitting here awestruck because the person just now said they're pretty new to Excel. I'm totally new to Excel. I've been forced to read other people's sheets from about Easter till about now, which
wow.
is the confidence to at least try it from the other side. My first question is, when is the recording coming out for this? Because I came in a quarter of an hour late, so I probably missed a lot of the basic
first bit. Yeah.
So the recording will be online tomorrow at some point.
Okay. How do you create a data set? Like, how does it know what a data set is and what bit isn't? I was a bit.
Yeah. This is what puts people off Excel, because it's like, where do I start, you know? So a data set, as far as Excel is concerned, a data set is either text or numbers generally, that are in boxes that are next to each other.
Right. Okay. So that's what you were saying was, oh, there's no blank there. It's just a block. So when you select things together, or you ask it to go from C3 to L20 or something, if all of those, if there's no blanks there, it will accept that as a data set. Is that right?
Yeah. Now I could have, like, I have a lot of data on this spreadsheet that I was talking about. I could have some blanks in like unit cost or quantity in stock or something like that, and it would still treat it as a data block, because I've kind of got 11 pieces of information. It also, like I was saying, it also detected the column headings because I just made them bold, you know, so it kind of, that's about as intelligent as it gets, really.
Yeah. And
everything else you have
Jaws
to tell
does the Jaws says the name of headings and things in tables that I create in Word. It does it automatically, but you're saying you've got to do something in Excel to make Jaws do that.
Only, as I've just learned today, it's just in the verbosity settings. You just ask it to do column or row headings.
As in insert V.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you spell everything within a single cell, or do you have to go into that F2 mode to then spell things? So I get that when I'm reading other people's things, and I'm like, what is that? And then I'm trying to spell it, and it'll only just say what it is, or spell the first word or something.
Yeah, I'd F2 and just move around. Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay.
It's probably the simplest way, but you can use, you know, like your control and left to move words. If it was quite a lot in a cell, you could jump word to word, control left and right, which might
Sorry,
get you through
I
quicker.
was just narrowing down my list of questions for you because there's just like amazing stuff. The other thing was when you are so you were talking about when you were looking at your stock control spreadsheet, you were timesing different bits together and you used star to times, but what if you wanted to add or divide and things? What are the keystrokes for?
Yep,
for
so you
those?
would do, so if you wanted to add, so it's basically you would always start with the equal sign, and that tells Excel this is going to be a formula or a function, and then you would put in which cell references you wanted to kind of be part of the calculation.
And would you type them, or did you have to? I know you arrowed.
I arrowed.
You were just next to it, but could you type them? Let's say if you were in, I don't know, F something or other, and you wanted to add B and C together, could you type them while you were still in?
Yeah, so you'd be sitting in F, and you could do equals, you know, B3 times C3 or something like that. Yeah, it's
okay. And there's no space bar. It's all one word, as it were.
I think if you put a space, it doesn't actually really matter.
Okay.
But you can do, then you can do plus, you know, your plus sign for addition, your dash minus sign for subtraction, and then your forward slash for divide.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the star
for times.
Time for multiply.
Yeah, and with when you were making your total, or and then it was sort of, oh no, not that one. When you were doing something all the way down, so you added, or you timesed one with something else in one row, and you said basically did all of that for the rest of it. But you sort of did copy and paste. How did it know to copy the formula instead of just copying the number you had?
Because it is a formula. Yeah. What I could
euro sign 20.
Oh, now you've asked a really good question there now. Because what I could do,
euro sign
spaghetti hoops to me until like 10 minutes ago.
So here I have a formula which is equals C4 times D4. If I copied that, Control C,
copied selection to clipboard,
and then if I just arrowed to a blank
percentage
cell,
value blank F4.
Blank. Okay, it's percent, but bear with me. If I now do, instead of doing Control C, which would try and do some formula with different cells, if I did Control Alt V,
Alt Control V, paste special, paste, all radio button check.
And usually it does all. If I arrow down here,
formulas radio button checked, values radio button checked.
We've got values.
To change the selection,
so we
press
could
up or
just
down
copy
arrow,
the
Alt plus
value.
V.
So I could press enter. We've also got formats. I use that a lot. You can copy the formats, which would just be the style. And another one that I've used here that I didn't know about until a little while back is column widths. You can actually paste the column widths just if you needed to. So if I just did values, anyway, I was on values there, wasn't
Formula values radio enter 900 F4 blank 900
so yeah.
F.
So now that's just 900.
Yeah, instead of
and if I edited it,
so the default for so when you copy and you've done a formula and then you want that to apply for the rest of the sort of 10, 20, 30 things, the default is formula. And then if you wanted to change it, you'd do Alt V to.
Yeah.
And not Alt V.
Sorry, Control Alt V.
V.
Control Alt V. That's your kind of paste special. And then it gives you loads of options in there. So.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sorry to hog so much time, but yeah, this is an amazing session.
Questions.
Just wondering if you're going to repeat something like this, I don't know, in a few months or something, because this is amazing.
Oh, we'll do something in January.
Okay.
You can
we'll get Sharon back in January, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
I will be signing up to Sharon shortly.
Put the request in.
You're very welcome, Sandra.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. Okay, last but by no means least, Susan Lumpkin has been rating patiently with her hands raised for ages. So Susan, you've got the last question of the day, and
can you hear me?
We have you, yeah.
Okay, you don't have time to do what I'd like you to do, but in your blurb about the presentation, you said something about household budget. So what I want to know is, can I create a checkbook program in Excel?
A checkbook
program, a checkbook, yeah, a checkbook itself, like a spreadsheet that has my checkbook in it.
Yeah, so you could just do that manually. Yeah, just put in all the information. So you could decide what columns of information you want in, like you could have date, description, amount. You could have kind of what would be credit or debit. So things coming in, things coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That's that kind of thing. So it really is a blank canvas, but it does raise the question whether there is some kind of a template you can use. I've never used Excel templates. I don't know if anyone else has. And there might be an Excel template just for a basic household budget.
I want to find that out.
I have a feeling there's a website. So there is a Microsoft Office templates website where Microsoft themselves have designed web templates. Now, I don't know if there is one for household budget, but it would be worth Googling Microsoft Excel templates.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can do it manually. You can decide what information you want to keep and then put it all in, underneath that. And then you could do like sums, the auto sum at the bottom of a column if you needed to know all your credits, all your debits and that.
Boy, there's lots to learn in there.
There is.
There's lots to learn.
Great question.
Thank you.
Susan, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Susan.
You're very good. Okay, well, Sharon, loads of stuff learned today. I think we all learned lots.
We did. Yes.
There's some great sharing of information going on. So thank you so much, Sharon, for giving us your time, for giving us a huge amount of time this afternoon, huge amount of knowledge, which we're very grateful for. Thank you to everybody for attending. The recording will be available in the next couple of days for this session, and we are back on Wednesday, the 5th of October with our next webinar Wednesday. Details of that session will be forthcoming. So from Stuart Lawler and Sharon, of course, at Sight and Sound, take care, and we'll talk to everybody soon.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.